Hi everyone,
Hey.
Welcome to episode number 11
There it is.
of Web Analytics TV.
Here we
We
are.
have an exciting, magical and revolutionary show.
Boom!
We're going to have a lot of fun. Actually, thank you so much for submitting some fantastic questions. Normally there are questions that are at the very bottom in the scoring that not really the greatest. But this one, we had a hard time reading anything out. I mean, it's fabulous questions. Yeah. So let's get going. The very first question goes to Nick.
Hey.
And good one.
Yeah.
I love this one. How does one implement a Google Website Optimizer test, a multivariate test? Very good. If they're using the new async version of Google Analytics. I've been doing some reading about this in the Google Website Optimizer forum, but I haven't found an answer. It's from YC in Jerusalem. So hello, Jerusalem.
Hello.
And Nikki, come on.
Yeah, so the issue right now is the async loads everything asynchronously. That's what it's called async, right? But the Google Website Optimizer uses Google Analytics to track as well as some additional code, but that's currently on the synchronous version. It hasn't migrated to asynchronous yet. So there's some issue where maybe the GA.js hasn't loaded, but the actual Google Website Optimizer code has loaded. So the best practice right now is, in this case for Website Optimizer, it's just to use the traditional tracking method, the non-synchronous version with Google Website Optimizer. And hopefully in the future it's just going to get better.
Are you saying that we should use the not great version of the code rather than the greatest, awesomest async code for GWA?
Yeah, no, at the end of the day, you got to have the user experience has to be good, right? Yes. And if the page loads asynchronously and then the content changes to be multivariate testing, like you don't want the page to change halfway through the experience. Right. That's kind of weird. Yeah. So for Website Optimizer, it might actually make more sense to be synchronous.
Okay, good.
Okay,
good.
Great. All right, next question here is for you, Avinash. Is there an exact definition of PII? Can I collect gender, postcode, age? Are any of these individually personally identifiable information? Or is a combination of them PII? If so, where's the threshold? And so this is from Jonah Alderson in Leeds.
Hi, Jonah. It's a good question, very complicated question. It's important to point out first up front that neither Nick or I are lawyers. It should be very clear. We're not lawyers. And so if you want to learn more about what is PII, I have created a quick short link for you. Just go to bit.ly, bit.ly/whatispii, one word, and it will take you to a list of links that are very nicely articulated that will help you understand PII. There are two things that I want to point out in this video, and that is, it is three things. First thing, it's prohibited that you collect PII data from using Google Analytics. So that's in the task, so let's be very clear on that. Thing number two is that most people consider name, email address, age, telephone number, social security number, and other such attributes as PII. I think there's near universal agreement that all of those things are considered to be personally identifiable information. Furthermore, there are countries in the world where other elements might be considered PII. There are countries where there is a debate currently that IP address would be considered PII. So we strongly encourage you to read up on the local laws in your country and make sure you're in compliance with the local laws. Secondarily, make sure you're in compliance with the laws that are the task that is connected to the web analytics tool you're using, Google Analytics or otherwise. And third thing, go to bit.ly/whatispii, one word, and learn more about what is considered to be PII. But hopefully that helps you out a little bit.
Great answer.
Next one's for you, Nick. A lovely, complicated questions from Shailendra Dubey in Hyderabad.
Hey, she's a friend.
Hello, India. To enable Google Analytics and Urchin in a website, we need to insert a single line of code and UTM GIF file. If we put the file in a location rather than the root folder, then how will we tell Google the location of the GIF file, or Google will automatically find the location of the GIF file?
Okay, it's a very long question.
No.
The answer is really simple.
I got lost halfway through.
All right. So there's in GA.js, their tracking code, there's a method called setLocalGIFPath, and it's designed to tell the tracking code where your local UTM GIF file is located. We'll put a link, and you can use it, and it'll work.
Man, we've thought of everything.
Yeah, it's
very good.
Cool.
Another one for you, Nick, since you did such a good job with the other one.
Okay, there you go.
This one's from Barbara in London. I think I know Barbara. She's great. There. Thanks for the question, Barbara. Hi, Avinash and Nick. Are there any plans to add currency conversion within Google Analytics? And in the meanwhile, what is the best way to set up e-commerce tracking for websites selling in multiple currencies? Thanks. Actually, I think I know Barbara, and in Barbara's unique case, I think it's a hotel chain that services many countries. So,
I see.
So without ratting out who Barbara is, keeping her anonymous, what is the solution here, Nick?
Yeah, no, it's a
in
great
that
question.
scenario, hotel,
Right.
I'm booking all kinds of currencies everywhere.
So the challenge is, what currently Google Analytics, how it works for e-commerce tracking, is you just send us a string. You just send us a value, and then we sum them up and show you the total. So there is no currency conversion going on the back end. In fact, you actually go into the UI and you configure what the currency symbol is, because we don't have any idea. So if there's any currency conversion, it has to be done on your end.
Oh, I see.
Now, to give you a good solution here, you have two options.
Yep.
The first option is you can actually create different profiles for different countries. So if it's the Canadian dollar versus the US dollar, you can create profiles just to show revenue from Canada versus revenue from the US.
I see.
And so that way, all the data is specific to a currency, because again, you can't add them. They're like apples and oranges.
Right.
The other option is the way the e-commerce work is we collect the data on the final thank you page. So a person clicks checkout, it goes to your server, the transaction happens, and then you send them back to the final page. You can actually do a currency lookup on your server and then send us the converted value to send to analytics. Now again, currencies change hourly across the globe, so it's a very difficult problem to solve, but you can definitely do that on your end.
So Barbara is an analysis ninja, so I really think that the second option sounds like really good. It is a little bit of extra work,
Right.
but it will set things up properly directly in one single profile,
Exactly.
which is the thing I like. Okay, so that's great. And of course, with many of these complicated things, we highly recommend that you hire a GAC, and they are very affordable. They're available all over the world. If you go to the URL bit.ly/GAAC, one word, if you just type that in, it'll take you to our GAC page, and so you can hire consultants.
All right, all our resources under bit.ly links.
I like short links.
Yeah. Okay. So, a question for you, and this is from Jacob from Stevenage, UK. Hi guys. When I add a goal to the dashboard, it appears there as goal 1, and it doesn't display the title I've given it at a goal setup. Can I only see the title when I go to the full goal report? Is there a way to see goal titles in the dashboard?
Yeah, I think it's like Jakub. I like that. It's a great name.
Yeah.
Jakub, yes. So we can't actually comment on features that are going to come down the pipe. Otherwise, somebody will immediately come from over the window and kill us. So we should be careful. There's a dinosaur here. We should turn it around and show them. Actual dinosaur. Okay. But Jacob, this is excellent request. It is something of a pet peeve of mine that we're not showing this as well as it should be shown. So if it helps that it is a pet peeve of mine in prioritizing it higher in the release list, perhaps that is happening, but we should have this, and you should be able to see it everywhere. Actually, not even there. I'll give you another use case where I'm doing custom reporting and advanced segmentation, which I recommend all ninjas to do. Even there, I want to see the name. I don't know what goal 1 is. I mean, I have 10 goals. I don't remember what they are. So even there, so there are places in Google Analytics where the name would be more productive than having simply goal number 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's something that's important to our users, important to me and Nick and the team. You know, inshallah, it will be here soon.
All right. So another question for you here. This is from Gabi in Romania.
Wow, Romania, hello.
All over the world. In custom reports, we can use 2 metrics, visitors and unique visitors, in site usage metrics. Could you tell us which are the similarities and the differences between those 2? Thank you.
Let's answer this in 3 different parts. The big difference in terms of your direct question, Gabby, is that visitor is a combination of a daily unique visitor count. And it can be combined with other dimensions that are available in Google Analytics, while unique visitors is really fantastically awesome. It can be combined with anything, slice and dice, whatever. So that's the first part, and to answer your question. I do want to answer 2 other things really quickly. One thing, you're wrong. There are actually 3 unique visitors in Google Analytics. In the visitors dashboard, there's also a metric called absolute unique visitor that's only available there and nowhere else. And it annoys me to no end that we have 3 of these things rather than 1. The third part of my answer to you is use unique visitors. Use unique visitors everywhere. Just ignore the other 2 guys. Ignore visitors, ignore absolute unique visitors. Use unique visitors everywhere in Google Analytics. It is a godly metric. I mean, it's awesome because you can slice and dice and do anything. I just got a question on email the other day where somebody wanted to know how many unique visitors had seen a page. And it might surprise you, but you actually cannot calculate this with most web analytics tools. You actually can't do this.
And it's across the arbitrary date range.
Exactly. And what you're saying is if Nick came to my website 3 different times and saw the same page 3 different times, all I want to know is Nick was one unique visitor regardless of how many times he's. It's a very tough computation. And you know what? You can do that with Google Analytics. I'll go to custom reports. I dragged page views, unique page views, and I dragged in unique visitors. Boom, the data is there. So use unique visitors. The other thing I did for that page reporting metric is also very unique to Google Analytics and not available in any web analytics tool, the clickstream one. You have to buy the data warehousing tools for an additional $750,000 to get this. But what you can do is, we had run a promotion for this page analysis from something like 15th of June to 10th of July. That's it, arbitrary date range. And I was able to do that in custom reports in Google Analytics and see how many unique visitors we got segmented for that campaign on those 2 arbitrary dates. What you get with other web analytics tools, daily, weekly, monthly, that's it. But you can do that. So use unique visitors. It's a great metric available in custom reports only most of the time. And it is the true metric. Ignore visitors, ignore absolute unique visitors. One of these days we'll wake up, kill them.
Yep, sounds good.
All right, another one. For you, Nick, from Brian in Canada. I love Canada.
Great.
We love Canada. Hi, Avinash and Nick. I'm a developer. I love your API.
Oh, respect.
Oh my God, I love it, love it, love it, love it. I would like to know if you would make public some information about GA's market size. Oh my goodness, I don't like where this is going.
Yeah.
And characteristics as I want to develop an app and need to evaluate product and market fit and potential. Thanks.
Yeah.
From Brian in Canada.
Yeah,
Come on, Nick, divulge private information.
Right. So we don't share any of the market information for all the people who develop, but for all of those guys, we love them, share them. We've talked to them personally, and a lot of them see people using their applications more and more. So it's definitely a huge market of analytics users out there, and all of them want to do very complex things, and there's a huge opportunity for developers to build it. So while we can't share any specific data, we really encourage you to participate in the ecosystem, help us out, and submit your app to the gallery, and I'm sure you'll find a lot of users really grateful for the stuff that you can build on the API.
And didn't we have a recent blog post about one guy in Germany?
Yeah,
that was great.
Yeah, Michael from the Netherlands actually he was just out of college and he wanted to start a business. He built something on an API, and now a lot of these very top Fortune 100 companies are asking him for a solution. So here's a guy who just started doing something, found a lot of value out of it, and now he's actually making money off of this. So it's very possible. We'll link to that. It's a great story, and hopefully it'll inspire you to be part of the ecosystem.
Right, and I'm just doing a quick Google search for Google Analytics market share if you're interested. Forrester has a study. Many other people have studies and benchmarks. External, not from Google, and you're welcome to use that as a part of your research.
Great. So here's from Dempsey from Little Rock. Question for you, Avinash. In an 80-20 split email, our campaign code included UTM content equals split 80, or UTM content equals split 20. Yet the reports show many clicks as UTM content not set. I double checked the code. Why would that occur?
Yeah, so there are a number of reasons why Google Analytics might, or Site Catalyst from Omniture or Yahoo Web Analytics or any other web analytics tool doesn't collect all the data about visitors who come to your website. Some people have JavaScript turned off. Other people have extremely slow loading pages, especially landing pages people end up creating for search email campaigns. There's got a lot of flash, lots of other things in it, and the code is the very last thing it loads, and sometimes maybe it fails to load because the page is so heavy, or sometimes the page starts to render the landing page, people just click the next button, boom, they're gone. And in all of these cases, and some of the other ones as well, it turns out that some of the data for some visitors, usually like just maybe 1-2%, doesn't get collected by the web analytics tool. And again, this is a limitation around browsers and JavaScript and speed and those kinds of things, nothing particularly to do with Google Analytics or Omniture or anybody else. So be aware of those things. We did invent the async code precisely to address these kinds of issues. So if you actually have not used the async code for this Dempsey, I encourage you to switch to the async code and try. And I believe, and I'll go out slightly on a limb and say that you'll collect probably a lot more data and see a lot less not set than you otherwise are seeing. So try that out.
And we'll add a link to a troubleshooting section that can show you what data is getting sent to analytics too. So if there's an issue that it's on the tracking side, you should be able to diagnose that yourself.
I see. So he'll be able to see if the content split, UTM content split thing is working properly.
It's actually being sent properly. If it's not being sent, we're not going to report on it.
Nick is saying maybe the problem is at your end, so you should check.
We first have to check.
Good point, Nick. Good point. All right. Nothing against you, Dempsey. All right, we've got a nice one from DVD Roast in Amsterdam from the Netherlands.
I think he's asked a couple questions on the thing.
He has?
That's pretty good, yeah.
Well, you should use your real name. We love you. Dear Analytics Ninjas. When I create a segment that shows traffic that viewed 2 specific pages, then the segment also shows other viewed pages in the top content report. Can you also create a segment that only shows metrics for the specified pages?
Right.
This is a complicated one, Nick. So what's the answer?
Yeah, it really has to do with the way our data model works. A visitor visits the site, views a bunch of pages. So we call those 3 levels visitor, session, hit level. Pages occur on the hit level, whereas segments are applied at the session level. So what does that mean? So that means if you apply a segment to a hit level, you actually get all the hits within the session.
Oh.
So if you apply a segment to a page view, you get all the page views in a session, so that's the issue. The way around that is to create a profile filter, so that way we only process the data that actually matches the URIs that you actually specify in that filter. So we use profile filters in this case.
So this is one of those cases where my passionate love for advanced segmentation is not the way to go.
Right.
But rather our older methodology of using profile level filters is the right way to go. Okay, great, Nick.
Cool.
So we got another one for you, Nick.
Okay.
Another lovely question. Let's see where it is from. It's from Harry in New Jersey, and Harry asks, "Hi, the problem is order ID not available on thank you page when customer checks out through a third party." Good one. Order ID is generated later when the confirmation comes from the third party. How do you send that order data into Google Analytics later when the order ID is available? It's a complicated implementation.
Yeah, it's a little bit tricky. So at the end of the day, order ID is just a string, and what it allows us to do is tie a transaction to all the items that live within that transaction. If you look at what code is actually being sent, each item and transaction are sent as different requests, UTM.give hits. So the real order ID doesn't really matter. You can create any unique number. And so what I would recommend is you just use a unique number, and you send that unique number to your server, and if the actual confirmation happens, you can tie the real transaction ID to the order ID, and you can do your own lookups. So it's a little bit complex because you have a complex implementation, but there are definitely ways to make it work.
Yeah, and maybe we'll add a link to how do you track third-party shopping carts, PayPal, all that. I think we've got links to that.
Yeah, definitely.
And the other thing, Harry, you should do is, we recommended this earlier, is you should consider hiring a GAC and just go to www.bit.ly/GAAC and you'll find a bunch of them.
Cool.
Okay, good.
All right, question to Avinash. This is from Phil Pierce, the sharp guy from London, UK.
Hi, London. Sorry, Phil.
I'm curious to know, why is visitor connection speed only accessible via an include-exclude filter and not via advanced filter? I understand why IP address, country, region, city are not accessible.
Yes, actually, Phil, if you go to the visitor, section of Google Analytics and then go to connection speed under network, you should see the report that you're referring to. And at the bottom of the table, you'll see a link called Advanced Filter. Just click on it and boom, you're able to do all kinds of filtering up, down, and around. And you should be able to do those things. So that's quite easy. Sometimes what I want to do is I want to do filtering using metrics or things that are not available in the standard report that is under visitor navigation connection speed. And what I end up doing is I create a custom report and I add the metrics that I'm interested in and then go to advanced filter and filter it. So those are 2 options that you could end up using and you'll be on your way.
Great.
So here, whoa, another one from India, from Sanjay Sharma in India. And Sanjay asks, currently in analytics, there's a cap of 5 million page views per profile. And to avoid this, we have to run PPC $1 per day. We're running more than approximately $250 per day. Still, most of our data is not showing up correctly, showing other mostly. So there's 2 or 3 questions combined, I think. So let me parse those out for the most amount of clarity. Let me take the first part, which is, it is true that in the TOS there is verbiage that says that there is a quote-unquote cap of 5 million pages, but the reality is, for every website in the world that is using Google Analytics, all data that is being sent is collected, stored, processed, and reported for you. So even if you're having 10 million page views, or we have customers who are sending us 1 billion hits a day, all that data is collected, stored, processed, and reported out to you. If you do cross the 5 million threshold, it is possible that your AdWords account manager might reach out to you and discuss the issue a little bit and see if there is a way to increase your paid search spend or do some other value-added activities, so there are no issues with the language that is in the TOS. But no data will be filtered, not collected, and all of those things without first connecting with you. And so it's all collected, stored, processed, reported to you. So the 5 million is a guidance. Ideally, you have an AdWords account where you're spending some amounts of money so that there are no issues at all, which is the case for 99.99999% of users of Google Analytics. So there is no effective sort of limit. We will reach out to you if that happens. Somebody from Google will reach out to you, proactively work with you to make sure there are no issues. Until somebody reaches out to you, you're fine. Now let's answer the second important part of this question. Why is it that in some reports we see other as a value? And that's a separate question, separate issue from the first one. Nick?
Oh, yeah. So the answer is pretty simple. For pretty much all the reports, we do a lot of processing, so that way when you query the data, we can return it within a minute and 30 seconds. It's really fast.
Not minute. Less than a second.
Less than a second.
Okay, very fast.
Maximum, right? Okay.
Very fast, very fast.
Yeah. Faster than a lot of other solutions. So to do that, we aggregate a lot of the data, and we have a bunch of tables where we store the data. And the table limit is currently at 50,000 unique rows per table. So for example, for keywords, per a day, if you have more than 50,000 unique keywords, we'll aggregate we'll show you the top 50,000 and then aggregate the rest in a bucket called other. And that way we can store the data and then you can query it. And most people don't go past 50,000.
Yeah, 50,000 unique keywords in a day.
Right. So we aggregate the rest, and so sometimes the aggregation of the rest bubbles up to the top in why you see other. But again, the way the 50,000 works is that it's the top 50,000 per day for the different reports.
So in one scenario for Sanjay, what might be happening, for example, is that there are more than 50,000 unique URLs that are being viewed on the site on a given day, only a day, not month, week, or anything, just every single day, more than 50,000 unique. So the first 50,000 will be listed in the report. From 50,000 through 5 million, or whatever the number is, they will be put into a bucket called other. So there's a very long tail, maybe only 1 or 2 people are viewing it. You still have the data, it's just in the other bucket.
Right, it's in the other bucket. And the thing to mention is for page use especially, a lot of people have like a session ID as a query parameter. And so because those are unique for every person to your site, those will all be reported as different pages. So the solution is to remove that query parameter. Right, remove all the search parameters, remove the session parameters, keep it simple, so that way you can actually get the real data.
Yeah, so remove the gunk from your URLs in that scenario and you'll be fine. But through the API, can we extract more than the 50,000?
The 50,000 is a processing limit, so that's for everybody.
Okay, got it. Thank you. That's a complex, important question. Another one for you, Nick, from Rick in Vancouver, British Columbia. And the question is, we send autoresponders to our opt-in list, emails, I believe. How can we track which message was the last one seen before goal conversions while still tracking how they found the site in the first place and not overriding the original GA data? So Nick, how do they solve this unique problem?
Right, so the technical solution is how do you not overwrite the original data? Is to store that data in a custom variable, and because most likely it's across multiple sessions, you're going to want to use a visitor level custom variable and store the data. How do they find the site in the first place? Well, they might have found it 5 days ago, and then you start implementing this, and now it's on the 3rd time. So the data you might be collecting might not be as accurate as you think it would be, but you can collect, if you don't want to overwrite stuff, use the visitor level session variable.
Okay, that's great. Thank you, Nick. And our last question also comes from Phil. And Phil is asking, recency is an increasing factor in SEO, plus more SEO experts are using GA, more power to them. Thus, it is useful to record document last modified within Google Analytics so the creation date versus visit date can be correlated. What are your thoughts? I mean, I think that there might be a there, but given the shelf life of content on the web, I think that if you're trying to do more real-time actionability based on this, I'm not sure how much there is, except in more esoteric cases. But in this case, actually, there are a number of options you can use. I mean, the data is available. I'm not sure how applicable it is widely to the vast range of users.
No. The answer is we should get Phil to implement this and share with us if it actually works. And if it works, we should, it might work, might not, but Phil should check it out.
Maybe measuring the shelf life on websites like Huffington Post, for example. But one idea I had was to use a custom variable at a page level. So you just send the data out on creation ID, and boom, you have the piece of data you need to do the analysis, Phil. So the analysis is possible. And Nick's got another idea that you can use as well.
Right. So you can actually
connect it to the API.
Right. You can pass the data as a custom variable and see the data in GA, or you can pass the content ID as a custom variable, extract the ID with all the variables, and tie that to your content management system. And I think that's the case for there's a lot of data that lives outside of analytics that probably belongs outside of analytics, but it's the merging of the two where the real value is. And I think that's where you can start passing IDs and extracting it through the API.
Yeah, so there are two ways in which you can do that, Phil. So let's close with a shout out and a big hello to people who sent us some really lovely feature requests. So thank you all. We got feature requests connected to filtering profile based on custom variables. Another one we both love from Rahul in New York. We've got another one for tracking PII from Fred in the UK. We answered the question earlier in the video. Sorry, Fred, you're out of luck. We've got a question as a request regarding SSL errors from Phil in London. So thank you, Phil. And we've got an anonymous submission to add visitor scoring for inquiry sites to data.ds. So thank you, Anonymous. We'll take all the feature requests and send them on to the product team and make sure they have it. So thank you very much for an exciting and lovely episode number 11. It completely relies on your questions and your ability to rate the questions. So please go to our website. The link is in the blog post, and submit your questions. And even if you don't have questions, rate in the questions of others, because that's what makes this show fun for us and fun for you.
Yep.
Thank you very much, and happy analytics.
Take care.